Think about some of your favorite games. Go ahead. Some of you, and most certainly not all, probably thought about Battlefield 4, maybe Halo 5 Guardians, if you're one of those people, Titanfall 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Medal of Honor Airborne. Okay, sure, not every game I listed is everyone's favorite game, but what do all of these games have in common? Single player game? Yeah. Multiplayer game? Also yeah. The ability to play the entire game offline? No, not at all. And that is what I would like to talk about today, buying half of a video game. For the sake of the inevitable comments below, and to keep this video at a reasonable length, the games I'm specifically talking about are games that have two different modes or more, one of which though needs an internet connection, and one at least that does not need one. So games like Destiny and Fallout 76 are not the type of games that I will be focusing on in this video. When you buy a new video game, like one that just came out, you generally pay full price for the game. That money is going to the single player and the multiplayer, or whatever modes that it has, regardless if you're going to play it or not. But regardless, you're paying for all the modes. A decade down the road, you might pick up the game used, or even on the digital storefronts, and you're still paying for both the single and multiplayer modes, or whatever modes it includes. Regardless of what you plan on playing, you get the whole package. But what happens when the online game servers for that game go down? If this game doesn't have local split screen or local bots, you're not playing the multiplayer or whatever online game mode the game has that requires internet. Sure, there's a single player option that still works, but you still have a massive chunk of the game that is still locked because servers are down. Let's make it worse. The new game you bought on launch day requires the internet to play a portion of the game, but you don't have the internet. Or you have terrible internet because you live in the middle of cows and cornfields. Well, there goes a huge portion of that game. I hope I'm getting my point across here. There was this game I bought a couple of years ago called Disintegration. At the time I bought it, I paid $30 for it, and that included the campaign and multiplayer. I started playing the campaign, and by the time I got bored with it, I was going to give the multiplayer a spin, but when I loaded into the main menu, the option to even select the multiplayer was gone. The reason for this was because the online portion of the game was dead, and the devs or publisher couldn't justify hosting servers anymore. But the thing is, I bought the game for the multiplayer and campaign because that is what it came with for the price I agreed to pay. So I believe that I have a reasonable expectation that I should be at least able to play the multiplayer against bots or split screen with other real people, instead of the whole thing being cut off and a portion of my money that I spent being wasted. You know, I enjoy Battlefield 1, which includes both the story and multiplayer. Since I'm not exactly the multiplayer type of person, but I just happen to enjoy Battlefield 1's multiplayer, I can understand the Battlefield enthusiasts who love this game and how sad the player base will be when the day comes when EA shuts down all the servers for it. Those who bought the game now have a chunk of the game they played taken away because you need the internet and active servers to play that, but it's gone now. How unfair is that? While I don't play or even like Grand Theft Auto 5, players who bought the game bought both the single player and the multiplayer aspects of it. In 2021, Rockstar pulled the plug for the online servers for all PS3 and Xbox 360 ports of the game. This means that games like GTA 5 Online were shut down for those two consoles. Any part of that game that was online is no longer accessible. Money well wasted. Is that fair for the player? I used to have really bad internet. I had Frontier, by the way. And I lived in the middle of cornfield and cows. So if a game had multiplayer, and it needed an update to play it, I generally wouldn't play that game because I really can't release those portions of the game that need the internet. Especially games like Titanfall 2, which, by the way, I really do love. But because the co-op and multiplayer cannot be played without updates and an internet connection, I was left in the dust. It's pretty unfair that I paid for a complete game but only have access to a portion of it because it was not made for offline players. Now, not all is doom and gloom, because there is a solution to this issue that publishers and developers can provide, and have provided in the past. The solution is to offer a local offering for the portion of the game that requires internet. Halo 2, for example, a legendary game. It revolutionized the Xbox Live brand with its online multiplayer. It offered split screen for both online and local play. So, when the servers for both Halo 2 and the original Xbox Live got shut down, there was still a way to play the multiplayer for Halo 2 that was supported by the developers. Local split screen preserved the content the consumer paid for. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, a very popular game among the Call of Duty community, has the ability to play the game online and offline. You could play against bots with or without split screen, which is really nice, because when Black Ops 2 servers get shut down in the future, whenever that may be, one can still enjoy almost all of the content intended to be played, with very little left out because of the server's shutdown. The solution is simple, and all the games that have a large portion of the game, in my opinion, have a local offering for players who do not have or have weak internet, or for when the game servers get shut down. This way, the money spent on the game won't be wasted, or part of the game becomes locked away from the players. How do we change this trend that we see in a lot of games? I don't really know, because the community doesn't seem to be concerned about this topic that much. The only thing I can say is to stop buying games that require the internet to play a portion of it, and pressure publishers. Unfortunately, with modern gaming, it seems like everything is online in some way. Games from before 2000 are going extinct in the AAA industry. Before I close out this video, I'd like to reiterate that only online games are a different discussion. Also, I will admit, I still buy some games that have a huge chunk of the game that will be locked away one day because the servers for it will get shut down. Have a great day. Watch one of my other videos. God bless. Goodbye.